vast majority of the people don't achieve even like 1,000 subscribers, and you got like almost 2 million. So what was different about your YouTube strategy? Like,
Yeah, I think it's a lot of things, but one is that
I know you are big on manifestation, visualization, all of that stuff. Do you still use it? How do you use it? How do you think it helped you? And what would you tell to people that don't believe at all?
how I like to think of that is this. This is W. That's the school games win. And this was the now, so the present moment. And this is where I was. So where I was, where I want to be. But I could envision this here, and I could start to kind of feel it. And so if you can change your current frequency to your desired frequency, amplify them together, that's how I like to think of manifestation.
So you made your first 10K a month online at 19 years old. If someone is watching this and they literally haven't started yet anything, if you were them, or like for most people, what would be your advice, the fastest way to get to the first 10K?
It's good to keep in mind that everything works. It's more about what are you going to enjoy, like what's going to work for you. If I was going to die tomorrow if I didn't make $10,000 today, and I had to start a new school account and it was going to be completely anonymous, I could do it.
Hi Kai, welcome to the podcast. I'm glad to have you here.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Awesome. So you got about 2 million subscribers on YouTube. I think like more than 2 billion views or something. And you also made over $57,000 of MRR in May and won the Skool Games, which is a competition of Alex Hormozy and Sam Ovens. And you already, yes, I love that. You already achieved so much at such a young age, like you're 20. And you already achieved things that most people, unfortunately, will never achieve in their whole life, at least in the realm of YouTube or like, monthly revenue or something. So what would you say is different about you, or what actions did you take that were different than most people that got you to this position today?
That's a good question. I think one thing is that I've always had a hatred of people telling me what to do. And so, like, just authority in general, like raise your hand to go to the bathroom, that kind of stuff. And so, when society wants you to go down a certain path and do a certain thing, I automatically, not even for the good of myself, but for just not wanting to do what everybody else is doing and what people tell me to do,
Yeah.
I tend to want to do the opposite. And I don't know exactly where that comes from, but I think that's probably what started it. And it also probably led me to believe that all of this was possible, which is kind of the root of achieving it, because I wouldn't go after it if I didn't think it was possible in general.
Got it. And do you think it's a genetic thing? Do you think you can learn it, or like what makes entrepreneurs, people that want to achieve their goals, become the best version of themselves, what makes them different? Like why they want it? Why are they taking different actions than most people? What's your opinion on this?
Well, I got kicked out of like 3 preschools. So you could say it was genetic, or you could say it was the way my parents raised me. But my brother and sister didn't get kicked out of 3 preschools, and they were raised by the same parents. So, I mean, my parents are great. I don't think they like traumatized me into hating authority. But I've always just been more curious and kind of disruptive in organized environments, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Um, and so, like, I didn't know until actually recently, but I was getting kicked out of preschools, and the people would like call my parents and tell them, like, I think something's wrong with your kid. Like, I think he might be special or something like that. Because yeah, they didn't want me. I was too disruptive. And I think, I don't know, that could be genetic, or maybe I just got lucky, or something happened in my childhood that made me more curious about everything. But I remember asking my dad at a young age, like I was like 4, and I was like, Dad, what's the universe? How does it all work? And then he was telling me about the Big Bang and all of the theories of where everything comes from. And then I was like, well, what's before the Big Bang? And he's like, nothing. And then I just remember thinking deeply about what that meant at a young age, like 4 years old.
Hmm.
And so I've always been super curious about kind of hard to understand concepts,
Hmm.
and such as like infinity, like the idea of that has always interested me. Um, and yeah, I've never liked thinking inside the box, if that makes sense, but I don't
Hmm.
know where that comes from. It's just always been kind of a thing for me.
Right. Such a good answer. I think um, we will talk about this. What I think there's something different about you too, which is interesting. I've noticed that. Yeah, we hooked the audience in. I will share it a little bit later. Uh, but what I'm curious about is whatever that thing was, right? It basically made you successful. Not saying that like we are billionaires and we figured it all out. Of course not. Like we are young and we we are still figuring everything out. But like at least in the realms of online business, YouTube, you are already the top. I don't know 0.001% of the people. So talking about YouTube and growth there, like what I think the stats are that like vast majority of the people don't achieve even like 1,000 subscribers. Like most people on YouTube that start, and you got like almost 2 million. So what was different about your YouTube strategy? Like what do you think you did right that helped you to get to these 2 million subscribers? What was your mindset? What kind of actions were you taking? And what are some biggest lessons that you learned that can help others to grow their channels too?
Yeah, I think it's a lot of things, but one is that I had been a content consumer of the content that I started creating for like
Hmm.
8 years. And so I was a Geometry Dash YouTuber. And if you don't know the game Geometry Dash, it's like a game where you click a screen and then a cube jumps over spikes and stuff like that. It's pretty stupid, but it was my favorite game. And I would always watch Geometry Dash YouTubers, and I thought they were super cool. And I thought the game was super cool. So eventually in 2020, I got my own PC, and I got the game on the PC, and then I was able to record my own Geometry Dash videos. So
Hmm.
I kind of started with the goal that I thought was unrealistic, but the goal of being a Geometry Dash YouTuber, like a successful one. And I think um, because of that, like I had clarified an end goal, I could start working towards it.
Hmm.
And that's where a lot of people go wrong. And like they want something, but they don't really know what it is. So they start doing things, but they don't really know what to work on. So they get nowhere. I just knew I had to make videos. And I also knew that money was great. Like I was watching streamers, and like they would get $100 donations, and I was like, how is this possible? This is like one per minute. Like if I could do this, I would be so good at it. I would do it every day. Um, and so the money part was great, but I also enjoyed it in general, and I thought just like the status of being a Geometry Dash YouTuber was cool. And
Hmm.
so I was kind of working towards that, and I knew I would do it for free anyway. And I would keep doing it even if it didn't make me money. So, yeah. Um what was the question exactly? Cuz I could keep rambling on, but I want to be specific to the question.
Yeah, no, you answered it. I think, and you mentioned something that was the thing that I said we will talk about later. There is a reason that I think you are so successful, but we will talk about it. And you just mentioned it. But for YouTube, you said that it's basically you had the goal in mind, right? The end goal. I think it's one of the even principles from the famous book of like 7 Habits of Highly Effective People or something. There is a book
Mhm.
that it's a bestseller, and one of the principles, if I'm not mistaken, is start with the end in mind, right?
Mhm.
When like if you don't know what you want, like you can't achieve it. And so many people start on YouTube and say, "Hey, like, why did you start on YouTube?" Oh, I don't know, for this, for that, right? And they don't have a goal, right? Is it 1 million subscribers? Is it you want to get 100,000 views on each video? Is it you want to get 5 million views a month? Is it you want to make money? And it doesn't matter how many views you get, like you want to get the right type of views and monetize it. Do you want to do it for fun? Do you want to express your creativity? What success looks like? What's the end goal? So you had that, which I think is important. And you said that it was it was fun for you. You would do it for free, right? And you were finding enjoyment in the process, right? From getting the status of being the YouTuber in the future, or from liking just the process and being creative, which is awesome. So I guess the question is also, what what did you learn about YouTube in this process? What truths did you learn that are universal, that anyone watching this video can implement for YouTube and able to become successful? Let's say they have the end goal in mind. They want to, let's say, become financially free, right? With YouTube videos in any niche they want to start, upload, help people, have fun, make money. Let's say that's their end goal. And what would you tell them? Like, should they keep in mind? What they should pay attention to? What strategies they should use for growth on YouTube? What are the best practices that you would recommend?
So the main thing is a skill I have, and I think it's trainable, but I've always had it. And so I think it's just the ability to put yourself in the perspective of somebody else. Um, and so with YouTube, if you want to make a thumbnail and title that somebody's going to click on, you need to put yourself in the perspective of the viewer that you're trying to attract to that video. And some people aren't able to do that. And so they just make like really weird looking thumbnails that don't make any sense. Um, and so understanding, like, first of all, who you're targeting with your videos, because you're not going to appeal to everybody, and that's okay. That's important. And then understanding what they want and how to give them what they want. So it's very simple when it comes down to like first principles. It's like make videos that people want to watch. Um, and there's a lot of like advanced tactics to uh, make that work. But when it comes down to it, that's what it is. And that's the boring answer. But if you're able to improve your skill at putting yourself into the perspective of the viewers that you're trying to attract to your videos, then you'll be able to make videos, come up with ideas, create thumbnails and titles that are more geared towards that viewer and can get like a shit ton of views. And so if you used to be like an overweight person and now you're ripped because you lost a bunch of weight and you learned about working out, and now you want to create content that helps other people do that, so maybe you can sell a product where you do one-on-one coaching and help people lose weight, whatever it is, you probably understand their pains and desires more than somebody who's been skinny their whole life and trying to help people lose weight. And so you can think, yeah, me too. You can think of like their, yeah, I wouldn't know because I've been skinny my whole life, but like their specific like thoughts and like what they hate so much about being overweight, so that you can create kind of a thumbnail and title that's like, if you feel this way every day when you wake up, follow these 7 steps to lose weight faster or whatever it is. And then people feel like the video is made for them, but that's just because you understood them. And that's basically being able to get into their perspective. So, yeah, that's one thing. And then another answer would just be persistency. And so I got videos that, like, when I started, I would get like 10 to 100 views always. And then some videos would get 1,000 views. And so I started understanding what kind of concepts and videos and thumbnails and titles got more views than others. And so I would do more of what worked and less of what didn't. And I would try to get more and more and more views because it was a fun game to play for me. But sometimes I would create a video and it would get no views. And then I'd go on a streak of 10 videos that didn't get as many views as the previous 10. And I would see a lot of channels do this and give up at that time because they said, oh, well, my channel's dead now. And I got comments saying, oh, well, Kai's channel's dead. Like, it died. It lost momentum or whatever. But that's just like a belief thing. And what I found was that if you just keep posting videos, you'll get more views again. And so every time I had this like plateau or like fall off of like my videos started performing worse and worse and worse, but I just kept posting despite that, it would come back stronger than ever. And that's the same thing I've noticed with a lot of things like skill building. But persistency, everybody's going to tell you it's a boring thing, but it's not the same as consistency. But it's just like not stopping despite your results. Yeah. So that was
What's the
like two answers.
difference between consistency and persistency?
Consistency is, for example, posting a video once a week and just doing that no matter what. Persistency is working on videos. It doesn't have to be once a week. It can be 7 one week and then 1 the next month. But it's like working towards a goal despite the results that you're getting. And a lot of people need immediate feedback to be able to work towards something. But what I've found is that the people who can work towards something without seeing a result, basically delayed gratification, those are the ones that are successful because you're never going to get an immediate result when going for big goals. Yeah. Did that make sense?
Yep. Yes, I love your answer because it was not as common, right? And it is so true. The first one of putting yourself into the position of the viewer and thinking what they want, right? Understanding them, their desires, what video, what title, what thumbnail would they click on, and optimizing for that. And second thing is just basically not giving up, right? When other people are saying, hey, like I've tried and after 5 videos, I'm not Mr. Beast yet, right? What should I do? You say, hey, like just don't stop and keep going. And like it's obvious, but it's what people need. And if they actually follow it, they will succeed. The question on the first part is, when you put yourself into the position of the viewer, do you think there's always balance between making videos that you enjoy and maybe other people will enjoy it too, or always looking at what the audience wants? Or is there a difference, or can you do both? For example, you may create videos for yourself and like you enjoy it, and then other people that are like you will enjoy it. So kind of you are the avatar. You can be the person you're attracting as one of the approaches. What's your take on this? Like, how do you balance, or do you balance between, oh, I like making this video, and oh, I think if I make this video, people will like it?
So it depends on what kind of person you are, because if your goal is get the most views possible no matter what, then some people are able to operate like a robot for that, despite whatever they're passionate about or what kind of work they enjoy. And I'm not like that. And so if I just optimize for what viewers want and I don't think about, well, what kind of work do I enjoy? Even if it's going to get a few less views, what do I enjoy? If I operate in that, I'll get more views long term because I'll be able to do it longer. If I'm operating like a robot and not thinking about what I actually enjoy and what kind of work gives me positive energy, then I'm going to burn out after a month. But if I'm doing what I enjoy and what the viewers want, and so something that's kind of a mix of two, then I'm able to do it for as long as I want because it doesn't drain my energy and I'll have more success long term. And so it kind of depends on what kind of person you are and how much you're willing to sacrifice your day-to-day happiness in order to achieve an objective.
Got it.
Yeah, I
So,
would say for most people, you should think about, well, first you just got to fuck around and find out, but you should also, once you find out what kind of work gives you energy and what kind of work drains your energy, you can decide what kind of work you want to do. So it's not a one fits all kind of thing.
yeah, yeah. No, that's true. I think that's a good answer. If you have a goal, let's say to achieve something, and like it, you know that it doesn't matter for you as much. Like, do you enjoy your own videos or not? Then optimize just for what people want, right? As you said. And if you are not that type of person, for example, I am not, I need to enjoy what I'm doing so I can have passion in it and like the work gets better as exactly as you. So in that case, then like you can't consistently make videos that you hate anyway. You will stop, right? So you would rather just pay attention, okay, what do I enjoy and what people also want to watch. And there's usually like some point where these both things meet, right? Some topics that, oh, I enjoy this, and oh, people watch this too. And that's the videos that you can double down on and make more of. You said about being persistent, and like most people give up before the success, and for you, it was, as you said, like you even got comments saying, "Hey, Kai's channel died," right? And then you kept going when most people would have quit. So how many videos did it take you to have your first viral video? Do you remember? What was that first video that like really took your channel off, and how many views it got, and what was the story behind it?
Yeah, it was about 150 videos.
Mm,
Um, I remember because I made a webinar and I included that. Um, I mean, like maybe my 50th video got like 40,000 views, but until I was able to consistently make videos that got over 10,000 views, it was like 150 plus videos in.
mm,
And that was a lot of time. So, like a
yeah.
year into making videos constantly, I was finally able to make videos that performed well consistently.
Mm,
Um, and that video was 20 frame perfects for 2,000 subscribers.
mm,
Yeah. And
nice.
so it was like 20 hard jumps in the game Geometry Dash for 2,000 subscribers. And then I hopped on a little trend. And so a lot of people subscribed on that video so that I would do 30 frame perfects for 3,000 subscribers. Um, and then I carried that on till I hit like 10,000 subscribers. And then I mixed up a few videos, but that helped me understand what keeps people's attention, what people click for, and just gave me a really good understanding of how videos actually work. Because before then, I was still confused, even though some videos would get 1,000, some would get 10,000. Um, After that, I got a lot more clear about what worked.
Mm, gotcha. So like about 150 videos, right? Which is a lot. And most people don't make even like 20, 30, 50 videos.
Mhm.
Which is and even I think Mr. Beast also was uploading for years. For the first couple of years he got like maybe a few thousand subscribers or something, and then after like maybe 3, 4, 5 years he really blew up, and then the growth was exponential. So that's such an important lesson. So if you're watching this, you have a YouTube channel or you want to start one, if you made 10, 20, 30, 50, 100, 200 videos maybe, and you aren't where you want to be yet, that's fine. For as long as you actually, if you are not doing the same thing, you are trying to improve and pay attention to what works better, as you did. You saw one video works, you made it into a new format, which is you started doing more of what's already working. So for as long as you keep improving, it doesn't matter like how much time it takes. Eventually, we'll make it. And there are so many YouTubers that are successful that it took them a long time to figure it out. So if you are a person watching this and you are thinking of giving up or you think there's something wrong, there isn't. Like, yes, take it seriously, get serious, try to make the videos better. I'm not saying be complacent, but also not if you just keep going and keep uploading, you will make it. Just there's no other way. Talking about Skool, so for people that don't know, if they live under the rock, Skool is a platform, as you heard it right there on your shirt, which is basically a community platform which helps people to connect, right? Find a community that can be a part of, and for creators, it's a way that they can basically develop a connection with their audience and also monetize it, start a paid community, make money, etc. So you won the Skool Games in May, which is a massive competition. I think there are like right now 17,000 communities in that group, and only 10 people win every month. So and that month your monthly MRR was about 57,000, and the way that you got there was actually very interesting, right? Which I want to talk about shortly, and I want you to touch on what it really takes to win. Not as much about the strategies, because like you basically were just like reaching out to people and saying, hey, I have this thing, like would you like to join, right? And that was the main thing, and also doing some partnerships with other people. But like what it takes to actually win, like what's that when you see something that you really want, how does your mindset change, right? Like I guess, and what do you learn about yourself in the process, if it makes sense? Like when before you started, let's say it's April, right? Did you know that you were capable of working that hard or doing some things that you did in May? Did you think of that? Or when you actually make a decision and start, it's really amazing to see what some pressure and competition can do, and when you really need to make something work, what comes out of it. So I would like to see your observations on that, and also talking about what it really takes, so people just understand the expectations. And if they want to become successful, win the school games, scale their business to 10K a month, 20K a month, 30K a month, to millions of dollars, grow their YouTube channel, whatever it is, what they should be prepared for to win.
Yeah, so I didn't know if I had what it took. I knew I would win the school games one day just because I had convinced myself of it, but I didn't know if I was capable of doing it in May during April. And that prevented me from starting in previous months because I knew what I had to do, um, which is make something simple and execute on a few tasks, um, which were intimidating to me. For example, I had never done sales calls before, and I'm a very introverted kind of person. And so that, before I had ever done it, scared me. And I didn't know if I was going to be able to wake up and take calls. And on top of that, do like group coaching and one on one coaching and all this new stuff. But I knew I wanted to win the school games. And so what it really takes is decision. Um, I forgot who said it. Maybe it was Alex Hermosi, but someone talked about like where the word decision comes from. And it's like cutting off external realities or something like that, or like other realities. Um, so you're only going down this one path towards an objective, basically. So if you make a decision that big, I am going to do this and I'm going to go all in no matter what, and really feel like something bad is going to happen if you don't, um, that's kind of what it takes. And it's intimidating to make that decision because it you do lose some freedom. Like you can't just wake up at 10 a.m., scroll on Instagram, go eat some cereal, chill out, and then maybe do a little bit of unfocused work for a few hours. It's like, no, you got to be on all day. And yeah, so it takes a lot of sacrificing, um, at least for me, like day to day freedom. And I don't regret it at all, but I wouldn't work like that all the time. And so I found a way after to get the same results without doing what I did in May, which was drink like 3 energy drinks every day. Um, and just like, it wasn't a healthy lifestyle. I was just like in my room on my computer 12 to 14 hours a day. And that's what it took to actually win the school games. But I did not know if I was capable of doing that. I so I don't know. I think it was a matter of other people supporting me, and encouraging me and kind of pressuring me in a way to win that month that helped me make the decision to commit to it.
Very interesting. You said you didn't know that you could do it, and I think this can give so much peace to a lot of people that might be in a similar situation and think, hey, I think I can do this. I think I can make 10K a month. I think I can make 50K a month. I think I can grow my YouTube channel. I think I can buy this thing. I think I can travel there. I think I can do this, but I'm not sure. And the best way to find out is to just start, right? And you will know. But one thing I've noticed, and I'm curious to know your thoughts on this too, is that my theory, and I can be wrong, but I think why most of us, including me, sometimes don't want to commit to something because then we will expose ourselves to if we are actually capable to doing it or not. So for example, there are so many people, right, that would say, oh, like, yeah, if I want to do it, I will do it, right? Of course, like if I want to become financially free, I will. It's just I don't care about money, right? It's not the most important thing for me. That's what people say. And I think for some of them it can be true, but for others, it can be that they are just afraid of really going all in because they then don't have the excuse that if they went all in, they would make it. So they become naked, right? Which is like, this is it. This is my best, right? And let's see if I'm capable. And maybe that's scary for people to see, oh, like now I'm all in and like now I will see what I'm actually capable of. Maybe I'm not as good now, or maybe I am. So do you agree with this? Like that's why it's scary to commit sometimes, and that's why there's so much resistance because you won't have any cards left on your hand. Like it will be all out there. Or what's your opinion on this?
Yeah, I think a lot of people hide from who they truly are, and committing yourself to something shows you who you are. Because if you aren't able to put in the work that you know you need to do, then you know you're not the person you want to be, which is a
Mm,
really scary thought. Or not the person you actually thought you were.
mm,
Because if you think, even if you have achievements in the past that make you feel good or make you feel like you did, yeah, good work, but then you commit yourself to another thing and you're not able to do it, you know who you truly are.
mm,
And I think that scares people.
right. And I agree. And I think also one thing you mentioned for like what it takes to win is um, sometimes you just need to do whatever it takes, right? Like, yes, of course, you can't do it always, as you said. Like, you probably it's not sustainable to work 14 hours a day on free energy drinks for every month, right, of every year. But um, sometimes these periods are when you get so much momentum and so much leverage, right? Like even for
Mhm.
you, like how many good things already came and will come just from the things that you accomplished just in that 1 month. It's crazy. It can totally change the trajectory of your life for the next 5 years, especially if we count the second and third order consequences, right? You went to school games, that's why you knew some people. You went to Vegas, you met Alex Hormozzi, Sam Owens, and others, and how many cool things it already led to, and how many more cool things it can lead to into the future. So, although it's not sustainable always, I agree with you that like sometimes it's necessary. And like, what's the alternative? If you don't try, if you don't go all in, if you don't expose yourself, then what? Like you are just waiting, like for what, right? So when you see a sign that oh, this might be the opportunity, right? Oh, I have had an Instagram reel that blew up, right? This might be the moment where if I make more reels like this, I might like get this. There's something here, right? And moments like this make the difference. And here's where I think it's interesting when I said there's something that I think makes you successful, so I'm curious to know your thoughts on. And this has to do something with the story that you told that when you were younger, you have seen streamers uh, in the game we were playing in Geometry Dash, and um, they were getting like let's say $100 donations, and you were thinking, oh, like that's interesting. Why wouldn't I do that? But most people watching that stream like don't even pay attention to that, and they just say, oh yeah, he made money, and they don't even think about it, right? They ignore it. They don't see the thing there, or like they don't think that they can do it. That's why they don't pay too much attention to it. So what I think made you really successful, I'm curious to know your thoughts. Maybe I'm wrong, but this is something that I see in a lot of successful people. Like even Andrew Tate talks about this. He said like in that famous quote of like my unmatched perspicacity, etc. That first part is like paying attention. So like you just see, oh, this person is making money. Like how are they doing it, right? You joined the donor school. Oh, you can have a community. You can make money, right? Oh, like and oh, this streamer is getting donations. Why? What if I become a streamer? What if I do this? Same for the school games, right? You probably have seen patterns. Oh, like I think I can do this. Oh, others are winning, so maybe I can do this. So, can you talk about this? Like, do you consciously do this, or it is just natural to you, or like you just pay attention to what's working to others, and you always think that, oh, why don't I do that?
Well, I'm very observant. That's always been a thing. Um, and I guess I also just intuitively believe that if someone did something, it's not like they just happened to be there to like get there. Um, and so if I were to take the same steps, I could get there too. And I think a lot of people, because most people go down kind of a similar path, they simply accept that path and kind of let themselves be brainwashed to believe, to not even believe their own eyes. Because, like, on the internet today, these days, you see so many people living this like dream life that seems too good to be true. Because I mean, all the ads of like, you want to make money online? I just got this Lamborghini in my garage, and I'm in Bali with I don't even know, but I get to travel the world and all these things, um, and people see that and like don't believe it. And part of that is that it's a bunch of dumbasses and those ads trying to be like gurus. But part of it is that they just accept the norm, which I don't like, and I've always intuitively not liked. Um, for example, I would never buy designer clothes. I had a fake Supreme hoodie in middle school and high school that I would wear, but instead of Supreme, it said sheep. And I think a lot of people, and it's okay because it's our human instincts to follow what everybody else is doing. Um, but you can have the conscious thought of everybody else is doing this, they're all going this way. I'm going to go the other way. Even if it seems unsafe, even if your instincts are telling you it's dangerous, think about it logically and it's probably not. Like, I don't know. I just think like we're all going to die, and no matter what religion you have or what you believe in, it's like if you're going to die and you're not even going to try to live the life that people tell you is unrealistic, it's like, why wouldn't you want to live an unrealistic life? What was the question exactly? Because I think I just went off on a tangent or something.
No, you answered it. I asked about paying attention. Like, how much
Mm,
do you think it's important for people's success? And as you said, it's just that people they
right.
see it, but they just don't believe it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think if you take some time to yourself, that's probably the thing. Um, because a lot of people are just always doing things. Like either they're at work or at school or studying or on their phone taking a shit. Um, and if you're always doing something, then you don't give yourself time to think, which means you're always going to follow your instincts, which leads you to follow everybody else, which are following everybody else, who are also following everybody else. And you basically go nowhere fast. Um, and if you give some time for yourself to just think about who am I? What am I doing? What do I believe? Is this true? Is this not true? What are the people around me doing? Because yeah, me being observant has definitely led to me getting to places that I want to be. And that's come like instinctively to me. But
Mm,
to some people, it's not. And that's okay because I think it's trainable. It's like a skill you
mm,
can learn. Um,
yeah.
to just give yourself some time to think critically and accept certain realities. Like, hey, maybe you're not where you want to be and you're going down a path that you don't want to go down. But if you take some responsibility for where you are, then you can understand your actions will lead you to where you will be. And so you can change those actions. Um, but yeah, I've always been pretty aware. I like being aware. You know how some people say, like, when we were in like tribes and stuff, there would always be some people that like keep lookout at night, and like there's like hunters, and then there's
Okay.
all these different things.
They were
And
your ancestors?
yeah, my ancestors. Um, I like to say it because it makes me feel cool. But
Yeah. No, it's
there's
possible.
like there's two in like humans, sheep, different packs of animals. There's like 2 out of 30 or something like that.
Mm,
Maybe I'm just
mm,
pulling these numbers out of nowhere, but
yeah.
that are extra aware.
Yeah.
Because if everybody's constantly looking out for a threat, then everybody's just going
Mm,
to be paranoid and nobody's going to get anywhere. But
mm.
if a lot of people just have their heads down and they're working, and then some people are like, there's a fucking tiger over there, guys. There's a tiger. We gotta get out of here. Then the pack will survive.
Yeah.
And so maybe it's that I somehow genetically got that gene of just being like weirdly aware and almost to a paranoid sense of just what's
Mm,
around me and what's happening despite what I'm being told.
mm. That's such an interesting point. And that's by the way, maybe it's even true. And I watched this from Alex Hermosi recently where he said like we don't know usually why things happen, so it's good to just talk about, hey, like I did this and this happened. I don't know why, right? When I do this, when I talk to more people buy. So just do that. Why? Like when you say this, like that's it. So I agree with him on the side that we don't know, but it's interesting to pursue why we think it happens. Maybe this is true, maybe it isn't, right? We probably won't understand it, at least in our lifetime. But it's interesting to talk about these things. And I think it does make sense that, like, if it can be genetic thing, because you can learn for sure, right? For example, I'm an introvert, you are an introvert. Like, we didn't have the genetic thing to like do a podcast. It's just something that like might be uncomfortable. You just learn, you do it, right? I didn't know English, so like I learned it. It's not perfect, but I learned it. So which means like genes aren't everything. It matters a lot, but they are not everything. But like your point was interesting because I think there might be a correlation between noticing things and noticing dangers or threats, because I'm the same way. Like when I start something, I literally automatically, which is a bad trait, most of the time, I think about the 1,000 ways it can go wrong. That's what I think. But that also helps me to pay attention to the right things automatically. So kind of that was really an interesting point. Maybe my ancestors were the same person that like were looking for threats, right? I don't know why, because that's true. Like I literally can start a podcast and think like what's gonna go wrong after the 500 episodes. Like if I start a podcast and after 500 episodes, like am I gonna be bored and I have all these guests, like at that point should I have another guest that already was on like on the podcast but before, like I haven't I already, and even more crazy things automatically, not boom. It's not like you think about it, like the in 1 second when you think 1,000 things, boom, like this. Oh, I've seen 1,000 bad things, which sometimes leads to overthinking, sometimes doesn't let you to take action. But it's also good because you can always flip it. So if you're someone watching this and you think, oh, I always like I overthink things. I think about all the 1,000 bad things that can happen before I even start it. You can flip it because you have the skill of noticing things and start paying more attention to what works, right? Oh, like this person is successful in this realm that I want to be successful in. What are they doing? Like, what, like what books did they read, like what are their actions, like um, how they are behaving, how they are reacting to situations, how they are solving problems, how their mind works. You pay attention to it, you learn from them, and you crush it, and you get the same results. And talking about this, I think I didn't meet an entrepreneur yet, so I'm curious to discuss this with you too, that didn't say, hey, like one of the biggest keys for me was learning from people ahead of me. Like I just, so, oh, this guy is successful in this realm. Let me just watch his content. Oh, I've literally never met anyone. Maybe they exist, but like every single person I've talked to said, yeah, like I think one of the biggest things was I learned from someone that had the results I want to have. So I know that for you, you learned from Alex Hormozy, you learned from Sam Ovens, you learned from Hamza, you learned from other people too, probably. So what do you think about this principle of mentors, teachers, people that are ahead of you in some realm, learning from them? And if you want to share, what were some of the biggest lessons, mentors, books, YouTube videos that people that helped you the most in your journey?
Yeah, I agree. I don't think, I mean, it's like, yeah, if you were to try to like learn math without a math book, it's like obviously people who have been doing business for 50 years know more about business than you, um, and everything like that. Um, and it's funny, like when I get on to sales calls and I ask people like, what makes you want my help, just out of my own curiosity, they just say, well, you don't know what you don't know. And it's very, very true. Um, and I respect people that know that. They at least know that, but they don't know what they don't know.
Yeah.
And so for me, some of the, like, I would say it's better to listen to a few people's advice, because a lot of advice works, even contradicting advice. But if
Mm,
you listen to both, then you might not get anywhere.
mm,
But I've contradicted that because I've listened to a lot of people. So to name a few, Hamza definitely got me onto self improvement, which kind of got me into entrepreneurship. Um, and I think I've learned some business lessons from him, but mostly from other people. So the big three are definitely Alex Hermosi, Sam Ovens, and Charlie Morgan. Amazing. I would also shout out Dan Coe for some awesome ideas. Um, but yeah, I think it's it's so helpful because when you listen to people who have solved the problems you're trying to solve 1,000 times and found like the most simple and best effective solution possible, and you can just hear it, and it's like higher level thinking. And so it's like, instead of solving that problem over and over, well, now you just know what to solve so that that problem doesn't come up. um, and it also feels good, at least to me. It's like entertaining. It almost gives me dopamine to watch those videos. And so sometimes it comes to like, okay, I should probably just be doing work instead of watching this Alex Ramosi video right now. But sometimes I'll have some big unlock, and it's just from one sentence that he says. It's not a 40-minute, all 40 minutes combined is helps me towards the future. It's just like, it can be one thing that's like, oh, like I watched a video that was like, people can get away with being really bad at sales if they simply believe in the product, or they simply want what's best for the
yeah.
prospect, or it was something like that. Um, and then those little tactics, instead of follow this exact framework and read this script for the sales call, that's helped me way less than go into the sales call genuinely wanting to help the prospect. Just help them make a decision, understand them. Don't go in with a goal of selling to them. Like, those little ideas are like, oh shit, like how did I not fucking think of that? Because it's a human here. It's not a thing that is like an algorithm that will just spit out immediate responses towards everything I say and I can follow this thing every time. It's like if I just connect with this human and get to know them and then tell them about my offer, if it's a good offer and they're the right fit, they're going to buy. Like
Mm.
when you break things down that simply, it helps. And learning from people ahead of you is so good because they've broken everything down into the simplest things possible. It takes a lot of work to make something simple. It's really easy to make things complex, in
Mm.
my experience.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. There's a quote even that says, I think, it is a simple thing to make things complex and a complex thing to make things simple, right? Exactly as you said. So I agree with that. And I love all the people you mentioned. Hamza, learned from him a lot. Alex Hormozy, I've watched pretty much all of his videos ever. Sam Ovens, same thing. Charlie Morgan, Dank also. The same, yeah, they're like maybe, I don't know, top 50 people in the online space that kind of everyone learns from, and they change sometimes. Someone comes and someone leaves, etc. But if you pay attention, you are the best of the best, and you like pay attention and you learn from them and you see how they think, your results will get better, right? As you said, even just that one thing you learned from Hormozy, which was, yeah, like if you have an offer, like if you genuinely care about the person, your results will improve because you will have that energy and you will go there and you will like ask the right questions, you will have the right tonality. People will see it. Like people know if they're just trying to sell or also want to help them and want to actually make sure it's a good decision, and you're coming from that perspective of helping them to do that, and also having an offer that you genuinely believe in, that like yes, this is amazing, this will help you, right? That helps a lot. And talking about energy, I know you are big, or I don't know if you are still big, we are big for sure, on manifestation, visualization, all of that stuff. um, do you still use it? How do you use it? How do you think it helped you? And what would you tell to people that don't believe at all at this principle, right? Now, of course, I know that, like, as we discussed, it takes a lot of work to get to a result, right? For example, you like went all in during the school games. You were taking sales calls during the night, right? Which was crazy. So you did what it took to win. But I think it's interesting to hear your perspective on how did manifestation or all this stuff help you to become that person that can do it, or to want or have that conviction that you are going to win the school games that led you to taking this action. So how do you think all of this is connected, and um, what are some practices, some things that you do, even if it's short ones, that you think had the most impact on your life?
For people that think everything I'm about to say is stupid, that is completely fine. And it can logically make sense that if you think and believe something, you are more likely to achieve it. And you are also more likely to be motivated to take the actions necessary to achieve it. And so if you spend time just visualizing a certain outcome, um, then you'll probably start working towards that. And you don't have to think of it in terms of manifesting spiritual energy stuff. But I like to think of it in more complicated terms.
Okay, go ahead.
um, so, in quantum physics, there's something called the double slit experiment, which basically proved that when a particle is not being measured or observed, it's a wave. And so everything that is not being observed is a wave and a particle at the exact same time,
Mm.
which means that everything that exists is basically just waves. And what are waves? Well, they're frequency, they're vibration. And so that means your thoughts are vibration. That means music is also vibration, obviously. That means the beat of your heart, that's vibration. And when that changes, your vibration changes, your frequency changes. Depending on if you're in a good mood or a bad mood, that's also a frequency that changes. And I believe money has a frequency. And I believe wealth has a frequency. And I believe success has another frequency. And I believe our thoughts in our current reality has its own frequency. And so if we can envision and start to feel a frequency that we want for the future. For example, what would it feel like to win the school games? That's something I did. And so I would sit there either on a walk. No, I wouldn't sit there on a walk. I would walk on a walk, or I would sit there on my bed or in the sun, wherever I was, and I would feel what it would feel like to win the school games. And how I like to think of that is this.
Show us, Professor.
So this is W. That's the school games win. And
They clicked for YouTube. They got a lesson on physics. But yeah, I think this is interesting. Yeah.
So this is the school games win that I wanted, and this was the now. So the present moment. I could have. It actually looks like a wave. So I'll put P for present moment, and this is where I was.
Yeah.
Right. So where I was, where I want to be. But I could envision this here, and I could start to kind of feel it. And what happens when two waves meet, you might hear, if you played two different songs at the same time, they sound horrible. But if you play a song on piano and a song on guitar, and they're the same song in the same waves, for example, two of these waves, they will actually amplify each other to basically be double. And so that they create what's called a constructive wave interference in physics. And so if you can change your current frequency to your desired frequency, amplify them together, that's how I like to think of manifestation, if that makes sense.
It does. I think there are two people in the world. There are like Kai Nemzers, and there are like Alex Hormozis, who says like what he says. He says no, like it doesn't matter. Like just do shit, right, and you will get the results. What did he say? Like he said something interesting, but I forgot. But I agree. Like I will share with you something funny. Before, like this is the signature of like Hormozy and Sam Ovens, and before this, like probably 6 months ago, I was writing down on my notes, and I would, like, I'm listening to all these people, like all of these people online, but like, who do I actually want to learn the most from, right? Who would be the top two people at that time for me, which is still the case at the moment, and that was Sam Ovens and Alex Hormozy. And I wrote down like, oh, these are the two mentors I'm gonna focus on. So I'm gonna try to integrate advice from Hormozy and Sam Ovens. Like probably a couple of weeks later, there's an announcement that Alex Hormozy and Sam Ovens became business partners. Like I didn't know, and now they are both kind of working on the same thing. And I went with you to Las Vegas in a room where there were just two mentors, Alex Hormozy and Sam Ovens, sitting there and like teaching. And I've talked to them in person, and I asked the question on one of the Zoom calls, and both of them gave me an answer to my question, right? Which is like, it's very hard to do that. Like probably a few thousand people joined. I think there was just one case or two cases where both of them answered the same question, and it was when Sam Ovens was still doing calls for the school games Q&As. He was joining the first calls with Hormozy, and like all of that happened. They both answered my question. I went there and I met them in person. I learned from both of them. I talked with both of them. Like I have pictures with both of them, and all of this happened partly, I think, because I had that intention. Not that my thought of like, because I wrote down somewhere that Alex Hormozy and Sam Ovens are gonna be my mentors or the people I will learn from, just because of that they partnered. No. But because I did that, I end up in this situation. So they would probably partner up anyway. But like if I didn't have this intention, maybe I wouldn't message you. I wouldn't go to school games. I wouldn't fly and all that 24 hours, and my flight got canceled and delayed for 24 hours. I went to Europe. From Europe, I went to Chicago. From Chicago, I went to Las Vegas. I've done all of that things, and I went there, and all of that happened because I was intentional. That thought was in my mind. And if I didn't have that, right, it would still exist, but I wouldn't get there. So this is just the truth. So even if you guys, if you watch this and if you don't believe, oh, it's magical and this, they might not believe your waves, right? Which might be true, might not be true. But like, that's fine. But what's true is that if you have something written and you have an intention, you are more likely to take the actions to get there. even if there is no magic, even if there is nothing. And one thing that I believe is powerful, and no one can argue with this. You can be spiritual, you can be religious, you can be none of these things, doesn't matter. Everything created by humans was first created in someone else's mind. That's just a fact. Like you can, this thing, right, this mouse, it was created in someone else's mind first, right? If they didn't envision, like you don't, yeah. Is it the same one?
Yeah.
Yeah. Really? Okay,
Thank
we
you.
learned something today.
Do you have the
So
same
that's
mic?
so true. Yes.
No way, this mic is so rare.
Yeah. Everyone has it. But yeah, like anything created was first created in someone else's mind. It's just true. Like no one goes and like, oh, does this and then thinks about it, right? Yeah, you don't have the perfect idea. You when you start doing, you get more clarity, but you have that first thing in your mind first, and then it gets created. No matter what it is, it's a building, it's a product, it's a shirt, it's a company, it's a strategy, it's anything, it's a result, right? No one just, oops, I made $1 billion. No, right? Like, oh, I would like to make money. I would like to. They think it, and then it might become reality. So, like, either you can be on the spectrum. You can be Kai, and like, there, I know that there are people way more deeper into that stuff, and think that, and that might be true. You might not believe it at all. But like in any cases, just if you have a goal, if you think about it, if you imagine that you already got it, and you take actions which imagining getting there and if you really want it will make you take more action, right? That thing will increase the chance of you achieving it and becoming
Hmm.
successful. So I can tell it from my experience, as you say, it worked for you. So yeah, just try it out.
Yeah. Another cool thing is that you can like measure I don't know if it's brain waves or like neurons firing of a thought before it becomes conscious in your brain, like zero point 0.2 seconds before or zero point 0.2 microseconds before it becomes a conscious thought. And so where does it really come from?
Subconscious. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so getting more practical because some people some people would
No.
say I didn't click for this. Yeah, I also like this stuff, by the way. Like I like to talk about all of that stuff. But if someone is watching this, and like a quick question for you, when was the first time that you made your first 10K a month online? How old were you?
It was actually in May of 2023.
Okay,
Pretty
so
cool.
how
So I
old
was
were you then?
19.
19?
Yeah, 19.
19. Okay. So you made your first 10K a month online at 19 years old. If someone is watching this and they literally haven't started yet anything, they are not on school, they are not YouTube, they are just learning, they didn't take any action. If you were them, right? Or like for most people, what would be your advice, the fastest way to get to the first 10K? Would you tell them pick one platform, grow an audience on there, grow a school community, sell high ticket, work for someone else, like develop a skill, sell it to business owners, learn the skill of getting attention, manifest? Like, what would you tell them? Like, what's the? I know it's so contextual, but like general advice, like for most people, what would be at the moment the best vehicle that if you went back, maybe you would do, or you would recommend to most people to start with to make their first 10K in a month?
So it's good to keep in mind that everything works. Literally everything. It's more about what are you going to enjoy? Like what's going to work for you, which is cliche, but
Yeah.
it's true. And so what I would tell somebody is like, I mean, if we think about it this way, if I had to restart um, with none of the skills I have besides, yeah, that's really hard because then it's just like, okay, yeah. So I would think about what comes naturally to you that other people struggle with. What do you think you could help people with? And what do you enjoy helping people with for free? Those are a few questions to think about. And then what I would do is start like you can literally do anything. You can learn about how to make money on any platform. There's free resources out there for everything basically. But what I would do is make a school account and
With my
join.
affiliate link.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
link
with
in
Harut's affiliate link in the
the link is in
description.
the description.
And like actually, I would start my 14-day free trial and I would just engage in like 3 different communities. So the school games community, the main school community, and 1 to 2 to 3 other communities that I was interested in that might
Yeah,
have people that I enjoy interacting with. And
yeah,
then I would engage with a ton of people. I would make a ton of posts and I would basically become a celebrity in each of the communities by being known. And then I would create a free community and use all of the resources within the school games community to learn how to make a no-brainer offer, or you can just go to acquisition.com and watch the free offers course. I would make a
yeah.
no-brainer offer and I would promise more than I think I could deliver. And so you need to work for the delivery, but you can make the promise before you even like have a course ready or anything. And then I would get, by engaging a ton in school, a bunch of people would click on my profile, join my free community, and then I could have a process of they go through a free course and then book a call with me, or I just DM everybody to book a call with me, or whatever it is. And then I would ask them about what they're doing, where they want to be, where they want to get to, and then do my best to sell them some shit and charge
Mm,
$10,000.
mm.
And
And what if
I
someone says I have no skills? Like, how am I gonna charge 10K? 10K? Learn the skills.
learn the
Manifest
skills.
the skills.
Yeah,
Manifest
there's there's
the
really no
waves.
shortcuts unless you get
Yeah,
mentored by someone who tells you exactly what to do. There's really no
like us.
shortcuts for this.
Yeah, the
Like
link
us,
in the
exactly.
description. Yeah.
um, yeah, that sounds like a sales pitch, but it's so true.
Yeah. Yeah.
um,
This was the point
so
of this whole podcast. Like we made
yeah,
this so we can, in after 1 hour and 6 minutes, when just 10% of people are watching, best case scenario, we are making asking.
no, we
Is
help
anyone
people that
watching?
already have
Like
10K.
comment below. Wherever you are watching, right now comment say yes, I am watching this, right?
Comment a
I wish
pineapple
to.
emoji.
Yes,
Pineapple emoji.
pineapple. Type any comment and at the end of it, pineapple emoji. Like anything, a question, feedback, what you learned, and at the end of it, pineapple emoji. And we will know that you are still here with us and we will like you more. Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, we will like you. You will gain our respect, which will
Yeah.
increase your status, and you might get a girlfriend. Um. Anyways,
Yeah, 10K
so
month.
okay, I'm on. Yeah, you
Yeah,
do need to learn the skills of whatever it is, and try your best to become the best at whatever you're doing.
yeah,
And another thing is you don't need to charge 10K. You could charge someone 1,000 and
yeah,
get 10 clients in a month.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah, more believable for most people, I think. They won't
yeah,
have the conviction to go for 10K, most of them. Yeah.
yeah. And that's totally fine. But if you really just have no idea what to do, only thing almost as good as Harut and I, as your mentors, is going to be ChatGPT
Mm.
or some AI. And you could say, hey, I have this skill and this skill and this skill. Or like, hey, I kind of enjoy this. If I could learn more about it, maybe I could sell that information. How do I start?
Mm.
You could ask ChatGPT that. You could also, the great thing about school is there's so many people making money and willing to help you for free that you can literally make a post saying, hey, I'm new. I don't really know where to start. Explain your current situation. Explain your desired situation. People will comment there because either just goodwill um, or they want to help you for free so that you become a potential client. But there's
Mm.
so many people on school that are willing to help you for free. It's insane. And
Yeah.
so if you simply ask for advice and take action, like you can get there fast. And I just want to break this belief that anybody has. I don't know if just saying it is going to break the belief, but if I was going to die tomorrow, if I didn't make $10,000 today, and I had to start a new school account and it was going to be completely anonymous, I could do it. And so, you go to thispersondoesnotexist.com, generate an AI image of somebody that doesn't exist, put that as your profile, put it a name, Jeff,
Nemzer.
Jeff Nemzer, and then say you're good at some shit, and then try your best to get some people on a call, and then sell them.
It's simple, man. Like, people don't get it. Like, it's
Yeah.
really simple. What you are saying is like, people would say, oh, like that's it. Like, as Kai said, like, see what you are naturally good at. Like, if you are better than this, like, start with this. And then go and create a free school community with our affiliate link in the description, obviously. And then what you do is you join other school communities that have the people that you think you want to help. And these people exist in this community. So if you're active, if you like, comment, post stuff, see when you made 7 posts in 7 days, which post got more likes, which post people liked more, you do more of this, and you try your best, and you message people, and you genuinely try to help, and then you start your free community. Some of these people will see, oh, like, who is this guy? They will click on your profile, join your free community. There you can help them more. And after you help 10, 20 people more with anything, if you don't know what to help people, go to ChatGPT, as Kai said, and say, hey, I've done this is my life story, this is what I like, this is what I'm a little bit better than at, because anyone is better at something than most people. Any person watching this, right? It can be literally anything. If you think about it a little bit, to like dig deep, you will find it. And then ask ChatGPT, it will give you ideas. Boom. Now you can try it and talk to people. If you talk to people, you will see patterns, what they need help with, what they are struggling with. And then we'll say, oh, I think I can help this person. And what you said that was powerful was sell before you build, right? You don't have to have everything ready to sell. No. If you think, hey, like I've stopped, I learned how to wake up early, right? That's what I learned doing, for example. I didn't, but if someone did, congrats. And like you learned how to do that. That's something that you can already start with. Like morning schoolers, I don't know anything. Create the community, go talk to people, help people how to wake up early, learn about it, read books about it, ask ChatGPT how you can help others to do that, and help a couple of people for free. Boom, now they are happy. Then for the next person, say, yeah, for $1,000, I will work with you until you wake up at 5 a.m. I will keep you accountable. I will call you at 5 a.m. I will give you my course on how to, and like sell them. If they bought, awesome. Now you go and build it. And by the meantime, message them, keep them accountable, share with them the resources that helped you. It can be anything, right? That you helped someone with any skill, anything that helped you solve your own problem, that you can solve other people's problems as well. So just do that, start, don't overthink it, and you will get your first 10K. It's hard. Sometimes it takes time for things to compound. Like you might start now and in a month you won't get there because you have limiting beliefs, because you don't have 10 hours every day to work as we do. Maybe you have kids. Maybe you have some, I don't know. So, of course, every person's situation is different, but like start. If you start today after watching this podcast, or if you already started, if you just keep going in 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, or hopefully sooner, different for each person, you will get there. But I think something that is what people don't get really is the failure part. I think this is what stops people. So I want to know you, because you talked about this in some of the podcasts too, about failure. Like most people don't do this because they don't want to fail. They want to, whatever they are doing, to automatically succeed. And it cannot work like that, right? They think, oh, does this mean that if I pick my niche with ChatGPT and I go and try it, it might be the wrong niche? Yeah. But you will still get closer to your goal. You will learn what not to do, and your next niche will be better. And then if you can't help your first people for free, you will learn how. So like, it doesn't have to be perfect. Your content, your community, your posts in our communities, the more posts you make, the more you try, and especially if you are trying to get better after each failure, the more you fail, the more you are going to succeed, right? It's not that like Kai failed with 100 something videos, 150 videos until he had the first big success with one of his videos. It's the same for me, I've had probably like 5, maybe 6, 7 school communities right? Different niches, different ones. You had your gaming community that didn't work as well, that you spent, I think, 9 months, basically a long time trying to figure out. But like without that, you wouldn't learn the skills to then start another offer that wins that. So what would you tell to people that like they pretty much want to get started, but they are afraid to fail? Like what's your perspective on failure? How does it help you? How much did you fail? And what did you learn from it, and how it helped you to become successful?
Yeah, I think it's like, don't look at it as a failure, because fail has like a negative connotation on it. I think because in general, like failing is really good in my perspective. Like when you win, you make progress, and when you fail, you make progress, but you also learn a lesson. And I think you can make faster progress exponentially if you learn what not to do, even more than when you learn what to do. And so if you keep getting lucky with everything you're doing, you're not going to know what works and what doesn't. But if you keep failing, you're like, all right, this didn't work and this didn't work and this didn't work. That's amazing. This is great. Like, this is actually wonderful because now I know so many things of what not to do. Like, I think in like when I was like 8, they taught me the process of elimination in math. It's like, what's 2 times 5? Is it 9, 7, 10, or 11? Well, it's not 11. It's not 9. And so it's like, it's simple and it's stupid. But the
It's
more you
seven.
learn, it's 77. um,
It's not 10 for sure, so yeah, it's 7.
yeah, 7. So yeah, I mean, the more you fail, the more progress you're going to make. And so it's more about how you react to failure. And so if you start a school community and you DM 100 people or you do 100 sales calls and all of them didn't work, then great. You have 100 sales calls to review to find out exactly what not to do. Now you're going to make so much progress moving forward because there's so many things you're not going to do that basically only leaves you with what you should do. Um, and there's a lot of ways to make things work. Um, for example, you could take your failures and turn them into wins. So like instead of monetizing your skills, you could monetize your weakness. I helped a 15-year-old recently start a school community. I just said, like, might as well, dude. It's a 14-day free trial. And if you don't make $100 back, worst case scenario, you can just cancel it and you don't pay at all. But you might as well just start, dude, because if you want this to like be a thing, you should do it. And this kid was smart because he made his community for young entrepreneurs to get their first sale online because he hadn't done it yet. And then within like a week, he got his first sale of $29 a month. And then he raised his price to $37. And now he's been getting multiple sales at $37 a month. And so he's made his money back. And he turned his weakness into his strength, basically. Because now he solved that problem for himself actively by helping other people solve that problem. Um, and so if things aren't working well for you, it's a really good thing, and it's just a matter of like how you look at it.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's boring answers. Usually the boring answers are the right answers, unfortunately. But like, yeah, obviously if you give up when you fail, you're not going to be successful. Obviously, if you're afraid to fail, you're not going to start. Obviously, when you start and suck at everything, you're going to fail. Obviously, you suck at everything, which is why you haven't started. But you just need to start and fail and look at it as like a good thing. Like, I don't know the word. Is humility the word? Like, have some humility. That is that a
Yeah.
yeah. Like, understand where you are and that it's totally fine and that everybody goes through that process. Um, I scrolled down, I've recorded like 500 Loom videos and I scrolled down to the first one and it was introducing my first community called Infinity School, which I thought was a great idea that nobody ever ended up joining. So that was completely failed. And my first Loom video was also super cringy. I was like, what's up, guys? So welcome to Infinity School. Anyways, I'm super excited to have this community for you guys. So excited. And I just kept saying about how excited I was. It
I've
didn't, like,
seen
none
it.
of it made sense. I basically didn't say anything that whole video. Um, and now I get compliments for like being confident on Loom videos or on camera or whatever.
Mm.
And it's just because I started.
Mm.
Like, you're never gonna get to where you want to be if you don't take the obvious steps to get there.
Mm. So true. And like for everyone watching, we haven't figured it out either. Like no one is.
Not at all.
I yeah. So like just learn from people ahead of you and teach people behind you. That's
Mhm.
basically what it is. Like learn from people ahead of you, take action, don't be afraid to fail. The more you fail, the more you will learn, right? And failure is just all your mindset or internal. No one cares. Everyone just like no one cares. Hey, who cares in the world, Kai, that you failed in the community of Infinite School? Probably only you. Or you even don't care. Like the who
I don't
wakes up
care.
and thinks, yeah, like who wakes up and thinks like, yeah, Kai, yeah, I remember 9 months ago. Like no one. Like they don't even know that. Like the only person that even knows it probably is you. Like that will have that memory, and it's even positive that hey, I've tried this and didn't work, but I was courageous enough to take action anyway. So like, but in the moment it can feel oh, like this community, like everyone is paying attention. What if I don't make money? What if people hate it? What if I lose? Just start, right? Like, just do it. Like Andrew Kirby shared that quote that I liked. Learn from people ahead of you and teach people behind you. And no one has it all figured out. We went to Las Vegas. We met some of us, Alex or Muzi. They are all day trying to understand what to do next for school, like what people like, what they can change, how they can decrease churn, how they can, what's this problem. Hormozy is talking about that. Some of his friends say like, hey, I'm broke. I can't buy this $1 billion company. Like, why don't I have 5 billion so I could buy this a good company I want to buy. So they all think about it and they are all trying to, at any levels because we are humans. So we are not saying this from the position of, oh yeah, like it's hard. I have been there when you haven't done it yet and even people tell you, you still don't believe it. But the only way to get there, although it's simple, is to start and take action and refuse to quit. And if you do that, you will get there. Like there's no way that you won't. That's the only thing that matters right now. Start, fail. If you start something, if you just like take action, I promise in the next 12 months, if you failed 1,000 times, you would be successful. There's no way. If you start a community, try to reach out, didn't work, start another one, kept talking to people, saw what they want, made your community better and more personalized based on people's needs, and kept going and took lessons from failures, you will get there. So if you're watching this, no one has it figured out, we still tried, but like the only way to get there is to just start. So please, if you didn't start yet, do it. And if you did start, keep going. Like you're on the right path. The only way for you to lose right now is to quit. There is the only way, right? Objectively, although this is cliche, that's true. Because if you quit, like you have no chance. And if you keep going, you will get better. You can get lucky. You will meet more people. Like just one person, one relationship can change your life because they will give you some opportunity. You can have some insight, one failure. Yeah, it will just, we can talk about this for a long time, but basically start and you will get your first 10K. What about people that make 10K a month already and they want to win the school games? What would you tell them? Like, do you think it's worth it? Do you think they should focus on winning the school games with whatever it takes or try to build a sustainable business? Is there a difference between these? Does it depend on the goal of the person? So like someone is making 10K and they're saying, I want to win the school games or I think I want to win it. Like, what do they do? What they think? What mistakes they should avoid? What mindset they should have? And what would you tell them basically?
Yeah, so building a sustainable business and doing everything you can to win the school games are two completely different things. Um, in my experience. And so
In
it's totally
everyone's experience,
possible.
pretty much.
Yeah, it's totally possible to win the school games and keep your business going and growing smoothly. And people have done that. But you got to think like, what matters most to you right now? And if you genuinely just want to win the school games, then that's great. And I think you should do
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
And what that means is that you need to use school payments and do a lot. basically take action all day, every day for 30 days of the school games. And if you can't do that, then you're not going to win. But maybe you have a business where you charge 2,500 per client and it's working really well for you right now, but you want to win the school games. But maybe you just think you want to win the school games because it'd give you like status or something, but you don't really care. And what you'd rather do is just make more money and keep growing your business. Maybe that's more important to you. My advice for you would be keep doing that, obviously, because for some businesses, like monthly payments might not make sense. And some people like charging higher price monthly payments than school, where you can only, like, the max you can charge is $9.99 per month right now, which
Yeah.
is really hard price to make sense for people. But yeah, I mean, it really just depends on what you want. But if you really want to win the school games, I think it's 100% worth it. It gives you a ton of credit. You get to meet Alex Hormozy, Sam Ovens, and a bunch of other winners.
Yeah.
I think it's a great experience. And what you really need to do for that is make your offer a no-brainer, and in any way that you're willing to, and work a lot.
Yeah, it's true. I think it's just about what you're optimizing for. It's 100% you will be better off to win the games than to not to. Like if you, oh, like you with this, you school games winner or you not a school games winner. For most people, they would be better off if they are a school games winner. Just not just because of the status or gifts or like benefits it gives you, that also, but also for what you need to do. Like you need to push yourself, you need to make offers, you need to work hard. It will increase the capacity of you working hard. You will see what you are capable of. You will be forced to make progress, to do something, and like it will lead to somewhere. So 100%, if you're watching this and you want to win it, you actually want this, go for it. But also know that it might be that if you right now your number one goal is to get to 10K a month, and maybe you are already selling $5,000 packages and you already sell two of these, right? Like maybe it would be faster route for you. Like, so maybe you need to do that for now and not focus on something else. For example, so like just know what do you want, because I see so many people that they actually making 10K of profit a month or 20K a month, 40K would make so much more impact on their life, but they are not optimizing for it. Like instead of that, they are just trying to start a $10 a month community and try to get 1,000 members there. Like it's so much harder to do, right? So like just know what do you want. Like if the school games is the thing, go for it. It will be worth it. If no, like maybe you make money and then you will go for school games. When you had some skills, you have some audience, you have some leverage, go for it. So it's different. It's for sure worth it. You go and meet amazing people, but know that it's not gonna be easy, and know that you need to really want it, right? As Kai wanted it. Like go all in, take a lot of action, put in the work, and that's when you will get there. You mentioned ChatGPT, that you used it, like people can use ChatGPT for figuring out their niche. There's ways to use it for your YouTube, titles, ideas, decisions. What are most of like some of the common ways that you use ChatGPT, and some like golden nuggets that you can give people to like practical ways to use it for their YouTube, for their school, for their life, anything that can really help them? What are your recommendations?
I'm not the best AI prompter in the world, but once you understand that ChatGPT can mostly use common sense, then I don't know, like I've just started using it instead of Google, and been like, when I just have like kind of complex thoughts, like I wonder if, or I wonder what, I'll just ask ChatGPT and it'll give me the answer. And sometimes it's helpful and sometimes it's just out of curiosity. Um, but specifically for YouTube, it can work really well because like my favorite way to use it with YouTube is for YouTube titles. And what I basically do is I go and find, either if I'm doing this for a client or myself, I go and find a bunch of successful recent videos in a certain niche. So say I'm helping a client make chiropractor videos. I don't know. I thought of that example. Chiropractor videos, and so I go and find the most popular chiropractor videos on YouTube, and I copy their titles. So 15 to 30 different titles, and then I paste them into a list in a Google document, and then I copy that list and I paste them into ChatGPT, and I say, can you turn these YouTube titles into frameworks that I can use for other videos? And so if it's 3 ways to crack your back the best, then ChatGPT will give you number ways to action your body part the best, or
Mm,
whatever. And that's really helpful because you can use those 30 frameworks for 300 of your next videos.
mm,
And it also gives you an understanding of why it actually works. And another thing you can do is say, hey, ChatGPT, why do these work? What makes them so clickable? And it'll say, well, it's this one works because of this reason and this reason and this reason and this reason. And then you'll have like unlocks in your brain of like, oh, okay, that makes sense. And so if I was completely starting out on YouTube with no skills, I would just look at what works, put it into ChatGPT, and then just model what works. But after doing that for a certain amount of time, I'll gain the understanding and basically the skill of knowing it myself. And so I don't use ChatGPT for my own titles because I understand what titles work. I just tell clients how to use ChatGPT because it
mm.
works for them, and it's way faster than learning the concepts over making 500 videos like I have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Powerful, man. That's so cool. And like I think ChatGPT is really good at the brainstorming, and that's what basically what you described. Like it's just fast. Like for you to come up with 100 ideas, and for ChatGPT, it might take you 2 hours. For it can take 5 seconds, literally.
Right.
So like it's such a good like thing to talk to and say, hey, give me this, give me that, and it boom, boom, it's fast, so you can take that like information and you make a decision, right? That's what people don't get. Like they try to ask a question to ChatGPT and they just copy it and just use it, right? No, like it's more of a thinking partner, right? It needs to you ask questions, it gives you, and then you like take the information and you play with it and you think about it, and like that's what's powerful. Like recently, I think it was yesterday, I didn't know about this feature. You can send pictures to it and say like describe this or shit. I sent one of my pictures and I was amazed. Like it literally in text described everything that's happening in the picture. I didn't know it was this smart already. All I was using this for is like for YouTube titles. Like, hey, for example, for this podcast, I had like 15 questions I prepared, and it was random order. So I put to ChatGPT and said, "Can you please sort this in a like order that makes sense?" Boom, it did it. Now I copy paste it. Now I have it. I don't have to spend 10 minutes or 5 minutes reading and saying, "Does this question make sense?" Then after this or this, boom, like it's fast, right? It helps you, but it's so smart. It's crazy. And one thing I'm using this for is you can tell it to pretend to be someone. Like you can literally click. It even has a like voice feature and say, "Hey, can you pretend to be Elon Musk and answer all of my questions from his perspective?" It says sure, and he literally will use all of the podcasts, interviews, first principle thinking, and try to answer the questions from Elon Musk's perspective as much as it's possible. And you ask, and you are literally almost talking to Elon Musk, especially for the stupid questions that I ask, or for like most people ask. It will for sure, like the answer will be enough. It will be very close to what Elon Musk would have answered, right? I'm not going to ask a question that it will be so deep that ChatGPT won't figure it out on all of the perspectives of Elon Musk. Boom! Now you literally got advice from Elon Musk, go and implement it. So it's such a like powerful tool, underutilized for sure. You are not sure about something, go and ask it. Go ask, hey, like give me like sort these questions in the chronological order that makes sense. Give me a hook for my next video, right? Like I try to grow my YouTube channel. Should I also be on Instagram? What are the factors I should think about? As you said, give me a framework. Why this works, so you understand it better. So next time you can actually use it. So it's such a good tool, man. So I totally agree.
Mm.
So anything else you are using it for, or that's mainly it? Like titles, just understanding reason behind things, frameworks. Do you talk to it randomly sometimes or no?
Yeah, I'll use it to generate images.
Oh,
And like, oh, what would like a talking watermelon look like? And then I'll just
making
show you.
logos also maybe.
Yeah, Yeah, I do
Yeah,
that
yeah.
because you need to remake your logo every few days if you didn't know.
Yes.
One of the best ways to hit 10K a month.
Yes.
um, but yeah, another good thing to note was like if you're interested in AI and learning about AI, it's one of the best business models to start right now because a ton of people are interested in learning about it. And so if you can stay a step ahead of a ton of people, it's so good because you can just say like the fastest the AI is going to take over whether you like it or not. And so the highest leverage thing you can do right now is learn how to use AI to benefit your life so that it doesn't steal your job and do all these things, whatever. Um,
Yeah.
and so many people are interested in that right now. And so if I couldn't do YouTube anymore, or I don't know, it'd definitely be on one of my top lists of like
Mm,
what I would have a school community about because
awesome.
I think it's awesome. Because yeah, I mean, a great thing about school and those kind of business models in general is that you get to learn about something you're interested in and make money by teaching other people what you learn, which is just like a insanely high um, ROI way to learn something. I don't know.
Hmm.
It's a flywheel. Yeah, that's the word.
Yes, the right word. Yes, yes, and like there's so many opportunities. Like it's fine. Like you can use AI to learn how to make logos, and you can sell logos to other people by just making AI, like making it with AI, and then you can teach others how to use AI to make logos to sell to other people. So you can teach others, hey, do you want to make logos with AI and sell to others and make $2,000 a month? I've done it, and teach it. Like, and then like so easy. Just pick something people want, figure out how to do it, go and try to sell people on that, and like you will make money. And just actually try. And if you try making logos with AI and it fails, at least you learned how to make logos. At least you learned how AI works, how prompts, and then the next thing will become easier for you. Like just start, do something. It's so powerful. Yeah, I'm gonna use more ChatGPT. Like I was amazed. Like it can analyze the image so like I sent him basically a photo from my balcony. Like oh yeah, you are in probably outside of the town, and this is like you are taking it on your phone, and it's in your balcony, and I see you are probably in a high floor because the picture is there, and I see the trees there, so it's probably forest. So I there see a field, so probably there are like it's such a detail, like it was a human. It described it exactly right. Like that was crazy. Like just and this image didn't exist anywhere in the world, just in my phone. I didn't like and it analyzed it. So real time it thought it looked at all the patterns. It's so like smart. So use it guys. Like it's really powerful. Let's go
One thing I
deeper.
would say is remember to say please and thank you with while using AI.
Use or don't use. You said you
What?
use you said to use please or thank you or don't use it. With
Use.
chatting. Oh, okay.
Always say
Be
please and thank
polite to
you.
AI. Be
Be
polite
polite.
to
Yeah.
AI. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Good tip. Um, nice. Let's go deeper a little bit, or maybe a lot, right? So, do you think you have a life philosophy at the moment or not? And if yes, like, what would be your life philosophy in one sentence at the moment, or the closest to it? I can tell you an example. I've asked this to William Brown. He's a successful entrepreneur. Some of people might know him, and he said, "I want to have fun, make money, help people." That's my philosophy at the moment, right? That's what he said. So, do you have one, or like maybe it's not having one? So that's your philosophy. Just live life and see what happens. What would be your thoughts on this? Like if you had to synthesize your philosophy at the moment in one sentence, what would that be?
Well, it's constantly evolving over time, but one thing I would I would quote a quote from Dan Coe from his book The Art of Focus. Um, he said, "Things aren't supposed to be any other way than they are," and I like that because a lot of people are just constantly freaking out and worrying and feel like things are wrong. And I could go deeper on that, but it just kind of adds complexity. Like Yeah, there's good and bad, but there wouldn't be good without bad. Things happen that suck. Pain exists, but also the opposite of all that also
Hmm.
exists. Everything that is right now is the effect of a cause coming from the past leading towards the future. Is there a reason? I don't know. But I think it's you can kind of relax when you believe that things aren't supposed to be any other way than they are.
I love it. There's something about that. I think in Stoic philosophy too. It's like it's not memento mori. It's like Ryan Holiday talks about. It's like love of fate, right? If you guys remember, let me know in the comments whenever you are watching this. Amor fati. Yeah, I remembered it. I think it's amor fati. So it's this principle is in so many ancient wisdom as well, like in Eastern wisdom, right? That yin and yang and stuff, but also like even in the Roman Empire, right? For Stoics, right? They were talking about amor fati, which is love of fate, like whatever love things to happen, however they happen, not just accept them, but like try to love them. But I struggle so much about this, and once you said this even helped me at the moment of think, oh, like no, things don't always need to be another way that you want. They just need to be the way that they are, and like maybe if you can't control that, then just accept it as it is. If you don't understand it, you will be able to connect the dots only when you look backwards, not upwards, right? And maybe you don't know how this situation will play out, but it will. Like it will have some effect in the future, and you will look back and say, oh, this thing happened and because of this, and then this connected to this, right? And that's how sometimes bad events even lead to good events. That's why when something happens, it's good to try to not describe it as good as or bad, but I struggle with it, so it really helped me. You said you could go deeper to it. Uh, what did you mean? Which part do you want to go deeper on when you said loving things to be as
Yeah, I
they
think
are?
I just meant like I could explain it more, but I don't know if explaining it more would make it easier to understand.
Okay, it will just confuse probably. Okay, so you would say it's basically at the moment it changes, of course. At the moment, it would be just the things are as they are and as they're supposed to be. So just don't freak out. Would that be the philosophy or?
Yeah, I mean I don't I'm not ever like super extreme on something. I
Yeah,
like to believe that I don't know.
yeah.
Or to me, it feels like admitting that I don't know instead of pretending that I know. Um, that's complex, also. I
Your
could go deeper
philosophy
on
is not knowing.
that.
Your philosophy is not knowing, like
Yeah,
Socrates.
and not having like I think philosophies are great because they're grounding to believe
Mm,
something like okay, like I don't know, there's a lot of things happening in the world right now, but at least I have this sentence that's 100% true, and so I can hold on to
yeah,
that as the truth.
yeah.
Um, when for me it almost feels like a lie to
Mm,
have 100% faith in this is how it is.
mm.
um and yeah, I'm not sure if I believe in the truth.
I think that's your philosophy then, literally, because everyone has one. Like I think your philosophy is not like not being tied to something entirely and being
Mhm.
open-minded maybe and like being willing to admit when you don't know things and like being you know fluent or
Yeah,
like water as Bruce Lee says. So yeah, would you agree that probably that's the philosophy then? If we have
yeah,
to
I
say
guess
that
so.
at
I'm
least,
glad we got
yeah,
that out. Yeah, I was
yeah,
having I have some Muslim friends and they were asking me about like what I believe, what I don't believe. And they're like, so do you think there's one god or many gods? And I was like, I don't know.
Mm.
And they were kind of just confused. Like, what do you mean you don't know? They're like, well, why do you think this? And why do you think this? I was like, the only thing I think is that I don't know.
Mm.
And so I'm so hard to argue with or have a
Mm.
discussion with in that regard because it's like I don't know. And most
Yeah.
people aren't okay with that. I remember
Mm.
I was really, really young and actually I'm not gonna say that because that's okay, fine, I'll say it. It's controversial. I respect everybody's beliefs, but I had this thought when I was really young. I was like 10 or 12, and I was like, I think religion is the fear of the unknown.
Mm.
When that's not 100% true, because I don't believe in the truth. But that's what it felt like to me, because I'm like, how can people have full faith in anything?
Mm.
Like, the extreme absurdity of everything is impossible in itself. Like the fact that you can grasp the concept of infinity but could never count to infinity, and infinity divided by half is also infinity, is truth that infinity exists, which means everything exists, which means nothing exists because that's also part of something, which means heaven and hell exist and all religions exist and they also don't exist, and we're all in an in-between state of existing and not existing and everything in between and everything outside of it.
Mm.
How are you going to say, yeah, this book is this was written by God, which is the one God, which is a certain way? And I respect everybody's beliefs because I don't think I'm right, but when I try to think logically, I guess my philosophy is that I don't know, which is scary, but I'm okay with that because that feels closest to the truth to me. And if I were to
Mm.
say this is how it is, it would feel like pretending.
Mm. Yeah, you are Kai Socrates, basically. Like you say, I know that I know nothing. And that's probably what would be closest to your philosophy. Uh, I think one interesting thought on this is that, like, this was really powerful once I've heard this, was that like nothing cannot exist, therefore what's left is existence. Does it make sense? Like nothing cannot exist because it's nothing. So if nothing is something, like nothing cannot exist. Why? Because if it exists, it's not nothing, it's something, because something exists. So just because nothing cannot exist, that's why what's left is existence. Do you agree with this or no? Or does it make sense? It was really like,
It does make sense, but it's also just like playing with words.
yes, but it's also true if you
It,
think deeper. Like, go deeper than words. Like, words have a meaning. So,
yeah.
like, can
Word,
nothing exist?
yeah.
How?
Well, nothing is something. We invented it. It's an idea.
But
Nothing,
then, if it's an
just like a
idea,
building
if
didn't exist before we had the idea to build it, nothing
okay,
didn't exist before we had the idea that it was nothing.
okay,
But there are measured objects in space, which is basically what happens when a white dwarf star um, stops burning and its mass is too large, and so it implodes and creates a rip in space time, and that forms a black hole, which is essentially nothing. And so it leads to an infinitely dense point, which sucks in everything around it, including the fastest and smallest things in the universe, which are photons. So not
mm,
even light can escape black holes because they are literally nothing at an infinitely dense point, which is also what the Big Bang was before it banged, scientifically, if you believe in that.
yeah,
Um, so I would say nothing exists.
no. But what do you know what's inside the black hole? You said it's nothing, but you don't know. I don't know either.
Well,
I'm not trying to pretend to be that I know for a fact, right? Because if I knew, I would be teaching in Harvard now and not not think
I bet
about
it
it
leads
now. But
to another universe. I bet the black hole is just the opposite end of what we call the Big Bang.
Okay, no, I think nothing cannot exist, so what's left is existence. So I won. Okay.
No, you're wrong. I don't believe in anything, but you're wrong about that.
Yeah. But no, literally nothing cannot exist. That's it. Like nothing can't exist. Like here's the thing, nothing can exist, but only if something exists too. Okay, anyway, I think we are
Yeah,
done
there's
for this.
matter and antimatter. Is antimatter nothing? Or is
I don't know.
nothing?
I'm not gonna pretend I know fundamentals of physics or like words,
I
so I
think
have no clue.
I
Yeah.
think nothing exists because we invented it.
I like it can exist on the micro, but does it exist on the macro? That's the thing. Like here's the thing. You are saying that we invented nothing, but that means that I'm talking about macro nothing. Do you get the point? Like you are saying nothing cannot exist within a world that exists where you are a human when you are having thoughts and talking about nothing that you invented. So you are in something that exists within which you say, yeah, maybe we invented nothing. But you are talking and you know that because you are in something, existence. Do you
We
get what I
couldn't
mean?
talk. We couldn't talk about it if it didn't exist.
Yes, but like you invented it because you existed.
Yeah.
So like you, but the point is still the existence. Like if nothing, here's the thing. When I'm talking about nothing, I talk about nothing on the biggest scale possible.
So
So like
infinite.
when there is nothing, when there is not this world, like just this world means that there is not nothing. Do you know? So I'm not saying there is no case or no scenario or no portion of nothing. But I'm saying, because I don't know, but what I'm saying is on the big scale, God, universe, etc. It couldn't be nothing because nothing could not exist. So that's why what's left is existence, and in existence you can talk about nothing because there is something to talk about something and something. I don't know if this made sense or I just made this up, but that's at
Well,
least
it
for
makes
now it
sense
makes sense.
logically,
Yeah.
but there's so many different ways to think about what it is.
Okay, so what would be something different? Like, what would be your counter argument to this? That, like, you exist for sure, and you say that nothing exists because we talk about it. But, like, you talk about because you exist. So, like, it all starts from existence.
Well, what do you mean by existence?
I don't know if I knew, like, everything. Existence is everything. Like, everything for me is existence. Everything. Everything exists. Everything. Universe, infinity, God, whatever you believe in or whatever you think, that's
So,
existence for me.
does everything does that include everything we don't know, or is that matter
Of
in
course.
space time?
Everything. For me, existence is everything. Everything that exists. Like everything. If you thought of a thought, yeah. If you there's something that you don't know, but there is, it exists. There is existence.
I just think
Why
humans
people
on
are
the
still watching this,
scale.
by the way? Why are
Yeah,
people
imagine
still
somebody
watching
watching
like
this.
YouTube?
Shout out to you. I think our brain can only understand so much, which is a blessing
Yes.
because if we could understand everything, we could never get anything done.
Mm.
Um, and you'll know that if you ever take psychedelics, if you were thinking about so many things in the grand scheme of everything,
Yeah.
always, you would never be able to do anything because it's just chaos constantly everywhere.
Mm.
But like peace comes when there's simplicity. And so that's why we're limited to we can see the colors of the rainbow and we can experience certain feelings and maybe we can feel this feeling at one time and this feeling at another time and this feeling at another time and it's almost we have a finite experience in an infinite universe. And if you're talking about everything, then that includes infinity, which is more than we could conceive, which I think includes something that doesn't exist and doesn't not exist. Those are two things, two binaries we can comprehend with our human brain. But when
Mm.
we're thinking about infinity, maybe there's something that doesn't exist and doesn't not exist, and it's also not something, but it's like you couldn't say with words, with human logic that we could understand what it is or isn't, because it's not, but it is. And it's
Okay.
hard to make that make sense with words, but do you know what I'm
Yep.
kind of saying? It's like things we can't
Yes.
comprehend. And so
Yes.
to say something as extreme as nothing doesn't exist, so what's left is existence,
Yeah.
those are just talking on like, yeah, if the universe was just math, if 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 zero didn't exist, then what's left is one.
No, that's not what I mean. Like, here's the thing. It's these things are so difficult, and I'm not saying
Uh-huh.
I'm right. By the way, it's just a discussion. But I don't know. But I think discussions like this are hard because different people understand different things by saying the same word. So
Right.
that's why it's so hard. So, like, for example, when I think about this, I'm not saying that when zero doesn't exist, that's why one exists. That's not the logic. Like, I think about it a little bit differently, which is it's not about that nothing cannot exist because I decided so, or just because there's some rule that prevents it. But just like if you think about the definition of the word and you sit with it and you try to think nothing exists, right? These are just two in from human perspective, these are just two opposite things. Like it's like saying red is blue, or like is the you are saying nothing and exists. There it can when you say nothing, there can be nothing else that describes it because it's nothing. So when you say nothing and exists, it can but we know that we exist, right? Or we think we know, or we see it at least. So if we know this, that probably this is true, not nothing. So I'm not saying that on the within the world, within the existence, there can't be nothing within it that doesn't exist, right? But on the big scale, why everything exists, it might happen because it couldn't not exist. Again, it depends on what we understand with these things. I'm not saying I am wrong, but I'm not saying I'm wrong. I'm not saying I'm right, but that's how I think about it. Does it make sense? I'm not saying these cannot exist, therefore I just made it up. It's not just because there is a conflict, in my opinion. Like it can't be. I don't know. I'm thinking when this sentence "nothing cannot exist" is because you don't prescribe anything to nothing because it is nothing. Like when you say infinite nothing, it's already doesn't work in my opinion because it's infinite. So it has a size. So it's not nothing. So it is something that has a size. How it's nothing? You see what I mean? So like I can't imagine what nothing is. You can't. No one can. That's why it's like it's just bullshit things we are probably talking about. But that was like at least to my brain it made sense. Oh, nothing exists. Can't like it. There is a problem there. So let's see that's why there's existence because there's a paradox there. In my opinion, again, we don't know shit,
Yeah.
right? But
Yeah.
yeah,
How I think of it is like I also understand we were coming from different perspectives, and so maybe I still don't get what you're trying to say or
yeah,
what I'm trying to understand that you're saying.
yeah. Same for
Um,
me. Maybe I don't get it. Yeah.
I'm thinking you're trying to put finite logic onto infinite ideas,
Yes,
which
because
doesn't
that's how
apply.
you can live. Like here's the thing, Kai. Like sorry to cut you off, but I think like people like me need to, and I'm certainly not the most extreme on this, but need to have a little bit of your thinking, and you need to have a little bit of the opposite thinking, in my opinion. Here's why: because like if people think, oh, this is like it is, then you are dumb, and like you probably most of the times you are wrong, and you never make progress. But on the other hand, if you think that hey, we don't know anything, never, then like we wouldn't be on this computer talking to each other from different countries because like we saw, oh, like if humans said, oh, what is electrons, what is computer, maybe it's something we made up. Like no, people figured something out, that's why we are talking. So there's progress. So like if you think about it always in that terms, in my opinion, there's a problem because even you as a human, you operate from value judgments, right? Like right now you're on this podcast because you valued being here more than something else. So like anything else, you didn't want to disappoint me. You were genuinely interested to be a podcast. You wanted to share your knowledge. It could help someone. It can be beneficial for you too. There were some reasons that you know or don't know that you made this decision. Otherwise, you would just like be lying and sleeping, lying on your bed and like sleeping forever, right? You are not doing it. So you have value judgments. You think, oh, this is, I don't know, but like you have fixed beliefs too. Like even if you don't know, and that's how you operate. So I think why I think to do it and why a lot of people think to do it, because without trying, you won't get to truth. And you said you don't know what's true, but I think that there is truth, because if there weren't, we wouldn't talk here. So like if there was no way to make it work so we see each other from thousands of kilometers, then we wouldn't do this. So there is a way to do it. So like it was true that if they did this would work. So now it works. So that's why, like, you can, as you say, if you always think about existence of the stuff, you cannot basically function as a human being. But I think for you, it's like, yes, but like it's also a very easy thing to always make excuses and always say, yeah, I don't know. But what if there is a way to like find out things within the human limitations that are true?
Yeah, of course there is. And I acknowledge that there's ways to do things. And I acknowledge
Yeah,
the truth of like, yeah, two hydrogen and an oxygen creates
yeah.
water. And people have discovered that. And people discovered how to make a bunch of shit.
But how annoying would it be if I tell you, how do you know? What is hydrogen? What if it's an illusion, right? Then you can say, okay, but then what? Like, what should I do? So I like your mindset that we need to all be more open-minded because we don't know shit. Maybe every single word I've said during this podcast, it may be wrong. Literally, there's a possibility of that. But then if you don't try it, then you don't get anywhere. So I think it's a balance.
Right.
I think the perfect is somewhere in the middle between both of us, as always.
I think it's just when things get to really extreme, such as like the most extreme things possible are everything and nothing and truth and falseness. And so when we're talking in those terms, I'm fine being like, okay, I don't know. But when we're talking about this plus this equals this, it's like obviously. But when I think about those huge things, like on the macro scale, I think, okay, well, what's the opposite of that? On the micro scale, we've proven in our human terms of proof that quantum particles do not function the same way things function on our level in terms of physics. So quantum particles can spin left and right at the same time. They can be in two different places at the same time. They can be in two different shapes at the same time. They can be a wave and a particle at the same time. That is impossible. And so on the macro scale, to say our terms of logic and math apply to the macro scale doesn't make sense to me. That's why. Because I think things get weird.
Yep.
On the micro scale and the macro scale. And in between, since we're here, things make sense to us, but that's just because we're here and it benefits us to be able to understand it in the way that we do.
I agree. I think, by the way, my perspective can change on this. Like with time, I have no clue. But like what seems to be more right than wrong for me right now is that like basically if we have a common ground, which I think we have, is we don't know everything. So like accept that and be open-minded and explore things. But also there will be things that we do know or we like are practical that we need to work on to like progress as a civilization and as humans and do cool things. And so like it's that balance between like not letting the fact that you won't know everything ever stopping you from trying to figure things out, but at the same time not think that you know everything and be open-minded. I think that's our middle ground. If would you agree or no? Or
Yeah.
you do? Okay, cool. We
100%.
agreed on something. Yeah, I think we don't know, so let's leave this to smarter people.
Yeah. If you're a smarter person in the comments, let us know how we were wrong.
Yes, exactly. And if anyone is watching, I think only like one person is watching this. But anyway, maybe I'm wrong. So if you watch to this point, add to your pineapple a banana. Anyway, cool, man. We will be wrapping this up soon. Two questions as well. Number one is there a topic that no one asks you about on podcasts that you have been on, several podcasts you have been in, coaching calls, in life, in personal life? Like no one asks you that, but like that's so interesting for you. You want to talk about it a little bit. Is there anything like that? Can be quantum physics, can be something from your personal life, can be like anything that you actually want to share, like you have been thinking about it, but like no one, you don't get the opportunity to share it because no one asked. No one knew that you are kind of interested in that thing or want to share it. Can be anything.
That's a really good question. I feel like we literally just talked about it.
Okay. Okay.
Like getting to talk about the little like wave thing with manifestation, how you can harmonize your current reality with the
Yeah.
frequency of the future and manifest it.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I wanted to talk about that for a while. And the same with yeah, just random
Existence.
philosophies about the universe, existence, non-existence, infinity. I love
Yeah.
that shit.
Yeah.
So I'm happy we got to talk about that. But that yeah, that would probably be the biggest things for me.
Awesome, man. Cool. That's awesome. I think I will learn even more about all this stuff, and we will do a debate. Like we can arrange a debate between everyone on school. Have like 5 people this, 5 people, and like go there and do Zoom and go crazy and talk about it and see
We're
who
gonna
makes the
debate.
most.
Does
Yeah.
nothing exist or does it not
Yes, and
exist?
like collect some philosophers there and like all beliefs, everything, and just go and talk about stuff because I think that's how we humans make progress. But anyway, I also enjoyed the discussion, so probably we'll talk about this too, maybe off camera, other days, which is interesting. And yeah, it's really like cool to think about these things and to learn. That's really I love it. Awesome, man. So I've stolen this question from another podcast, and I would like to ask it to you because I'm genuinely curious about this. So I'm not sure if you got asked this before or not. It is a obvious question, but I think it can be helpful to the people that are watching. So, if you were to die today, right, or disappear from this world, or get sucked into the black hole and exist within the non-existence, make your dream reality. That's what you wanted. There you go. Just kidding. But yeah, you do that, and like with you, all of your advice, all of your content, all of your YouTube videos, all of your call recordings, all of your Loom videos disappear too. And all you can leave to your children, to your friends, to your family, to your audience, to the people that want to live a good life in your definition, for as far as you have figured out, the things that you find out to be more true than false, what are the three things that you would tell them? Any free truths, free advice, free sentences, free recommendations, anything, the three things that you would leave the world before you disappeared to the black hole.
Fuck. I was actually thinking of making this a YouTube video because it would make a really good title. Nobody's allowed to steal this title, but nobody's watching this part anyway.
No one is
um,
watching this anyway, man. Go ahead.
I was gonna make a video titled "If I was gonna die tomorrow, this is the video I would make." I feel like that would go viral.
Yes,
Um,
it's a good idea.
on the spot, I hate that most cliche things are so true and people don't take them seriously because they're said so often by people who don't take the advice themselves. But like, for example, anything is possible. It's like, yeah, if you can imagine it and start working towards it, then it's possible. If I were to say three things, fuck, how do I word them correctly?
Doesn't have to be perfect, like from your current perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Like, let's say
Okay.
you have 5 minutes and you need to say it, like, what comes first to mind? Like, you need to prioritize anyway. And the
Okay.
first one was already good, by the way. I don't think that is too cliche, to be honest. I don't hear often everything is possible. It's like very uncommon that people actually believe it or hear it. Most people think that nothing is possible, to be honest. Most people don't pursue their goals. Like, it's just that we are maybe in the bubble of people that are trying to improve themselves. Everyone that is watching this podcast at this point are someone like that in some realm of their life, at least. So they get it, but it was wonderful already. So I love the first one. What about the second one and the third one?
I want to say the first one better,
Okay.
or add something onto it.
Okay.
Any limit that you put onto your reality is illogical. Um, any limit that either you accept or is put onto you as a belief by other people, whether that's your parents or friends or some authority, any kind of limit of you are unable to do this or what you want isn't realistic is wrong, in
Mm.
my opinion. So, another one is take the advice of people you respect and don't follow the advice of people you don't want to end up like. And that's like the fastest way to get results without doing all the trial and error yourself. Um, yeah, a lot of people are just listening to the wrong people. And so they go down the
Like
path.
us. Like, why are you here?
Yeah, stop listening to us. um, so, yeah, that's another one. And then follow your intuition.
Mm.
I think there's a difference between desire, cravings, instincts, and intuition. And your intuition is what you want to follow. Somehow there's some, I feel like, guiding truth, which contradicts what I said earlier, but
Mm. We are getting there.
guiding truth of the universe that everybody kind of intrinsically knows if they pay attention to it. And when it comes to making a decision, if you're in tune to your intuition, then the decision becomes easy and that was the right decision. And yeah, I think that was 3. So yeah, if you like have a goal, you clarify exactly what you want, and then you simply follow your intuition, you will be able to get there.
Mm.
So yeah,
So
those are the 3 things.
the first one, most beliefs, limiting beliefs or limiting things are self-imposed, right? The second one was which was the second one? I forgot. It was similar to the intuition one. Yeah, listen to people that are already where you want to be. So be careful of who you listen to and see, okay, if you don't want to be where they are in that area of your life, don't take their advice. And if they are where you want to be, consider it. And third thing is there's a difference between intuition, instincts, and other stuff. So try to identify what's your intuition and try to listen to it because you believe that intrinsically we know what is best for us. And if we are able to listen to that voice most of the time, uh, we will get where we want to be most of the time. Did I word it correctly for these 3 mainly?
Basically, yeah.
Yeah, awesome, cool. So where should people check out your stuff and make you rich and buy shit and like join you and other stuff?
Skool.com/Adam if you're an entrepreneur making over 10K a month through organic content and want help growing. It's a completely free community that Harut and I run. We'll help you for free with the goal of getting some case studies.
Yep,
So yeah, and it's also just a mastermind where everybody's helping each other.
yep.
Skool.com/Kai is a free community to help you grow on YouTube and get rich on Skool.
Mm-hmm.
And Skibbity Toilet.
Yeah.
I run that channel. So go subscribe.
And also Instagram. I will leave your Instagram so people DM you and argue with you on some things.
Hell yeah.
About existence and stuff. I think it's a good way to contact you. Would you like to people to contact you on Instagram or on Skool or where?
Skool or
If they want.
Instagram. Yeah. Join my
Okay.
free communities
Yep.
and follow my Instagram. I don't post
Yep.
shit on there, but feel free to
Yeah.
DM me
Yeah.
and we'll be friends. Just kidding.
Awesome.
We'll be
Awesome.
friends.
I will leave in the description.